If you're one of the people who's bought a DJI AVATA over the last 6 months and you're struggling to be able to fly manual and you spend most of your time sending it off to DJI to get it refreshed and you're just wasting more and more time and money, you don't seem to be getting anywhere, today I'm going to help you. Flying an FPV drone isn't as hard as what people may think, and with the DJI AVATA and the technology that's on it, it's never been as easy as it is today. So in this video, I'm going to go through them techniques, them little features, and go through thoroughly on how to fly an FPV drone in full manual mode. You'll see that instead of just using my thumbs on the sticks, I actually use my index finger and my thumbs and pinch it. And to me, that actually makes things a lot easier. It's something I saw when I first got into flying FPV drones, maybe about 6 years ago, and I actually doubted they would be that good. Tried it, never went back. So if you're struggling to get the sensitivity right with your DJI AVATA, try that and see how you get on. One of the best pieces of technology on the DJI AVATA is the pause button, and you need to use it. When I'm flying with the FPV controller, I keep my middle finger hovering around the pause button. Why? In case something goes wrong. You could go wrong in an instant, and that could be the end of your drone. You could be flying over water, need to stop your drone, and the best way to do it and let the drone take over is by just tapping that button. Once you do that, no matter what orientation your drone is in, your drone will right itself, take over, the flight controller takes over, and you can go back into normal mode and bring the drone back home. Now, if you want to go back into manual mode and take over, all you need to do is get this, move it up to the top, so you're in normal mode, and then move it back down. And you'll see on the screen, it'll tell you where to put the sticks to take control. Trust me, use it. It will save you not only a lot of time, but also a lot of money. The thing you'll see is that I barely ever move the sticks. They're really always around the center unless I need to do any drastic movements, any big dramatic movements with the drone. FPV drones are really sensitive when flying them. And if you decide to move your stick all the way to the left, the right, up or down, it will probably flip itself very quickly and you will lose control. Keeping the sticks around center will give you a lot more control. It's less sensitive around the middle, but it will give you still enough movement to be really agile through trees, through obstacles, anything you want. Another thing to remember that even though you may leave your sticks in the middle, it doesn't mean that the drone is just gonna hover for you. For instance, let's look at the throttle control. When your throttle is all the way at the bottom, it gives 0 throttle. When it goes halfway, it gives 50%, and when you go all the way to the top, it obviously gives you 100. But bringing the throttle down to the middle, which is 50%, doesn't mean that your drone's gonna maintain the height that it's at. Depending on how much weight you've got in your DJI AVATA, you may have attached a GoPro to get even better video quality. You may have filters, it may be windy. The air temperature can literally change how the throttle reacts. And you may have to add more throttle or decrease the throttle to maintain the altitude that the drone is at. And that's one of the hardest things people struggle with. When you're flying something like a Mavic or even the AVATA in normal or sport mode, the flight controller, the onboard computer, does a lot of the thinking for you. Any mistakes that you make, the drone will react to that and try and keep it in the air. In manual mode, that isn't gonna happen. So without wasting any more time, let's get the drone in the air, let's see how I control it, and I'll go through all the movements that I do with the drone to be able to get you guys in the air. So unfortunately, you won't see any of the heads-up display on this DJI AVATA video, purely because I'm using version 2 goggles and not the DJI goggles 2. But at the moment I'm in normal mode, and then when I flick it down to manual mode, you'll see that the drone rises up. It's currently at 28 degrees. We're going to decrease that to around about 25, just to make things a little bit easier. The throttle stick is down at the very bottom. You need to make sure that that is obviously got no spring on it. If you don't know how to do that, I'll leave a link just above for you to watch that video first, and then you can come back to this video. So we're going to take off in manual mode. This is the mode I always take off in. And we're going to double tap the start button to start the motors. And what we're going to do is just add a little bit of throttle, just skate in the air. For this, we're going to need a plate and a ball. Flying an FPV drone, but especially hovering an FPV drone, is similar to taking a ball and placing it on a plate, and then trying to keep the ball as close to the middle as possible. You have to make constant adjustments to the angle of the plate in all directions. And if you ever make your adjustment a bit too large, then the ball will just fall off. And the more wind you have blowing on the drone or more outside forces there is, then the more adjustments you're gonna have to make just to keep the control of the drone. So to move forward, we're going to move the right stick forward ever so slightly and then let go. And as we do that, the camera will obviously tilt down and the drone moves forward. And as you can see, I'm not putting any more stick control in. All I'm doing is controlling the throttle to keep it at the same altitude. We do the same thing coming back, pushing that right stick forward just to give that tilt, and then moving forward like that and adjusting the throttle to suit. And then when you're ready to stop, you just pull back on the right stick and then you can bring it back to a hover like before. So let's move on to turning. When you're turning on an FPV drone, it's a little different to turning on something like a DJI Mavic. On a DJI Mavic, you would just normally use the left stick, like so. Remember how earlier on I said that the camera tilt doesn't change relative to the drone? Well, when your drone's traveling forward, obviously your camera is facing forwards, but your drone is actually tilting forwards like this. If you just take the left stick and move it to the left, then all you would do is actually turn the drone like this, and the camera and the drone will continue flying in the same direction as it was before. Once you get into this position, what you then need to do is add a little bit of roll using your right stick and moving it to the left. So therefore you got the yaw and then the roll, and if you need to, you might have to add a little bit of tilt into that as well. Once again, it's like getting your plate and your ball and trying to keep the ball as much in the center as possible. As time goes on, you'll learn how much you need to move them sticks both left and right, and instead of just inputting one control to one of the sticks, you'll learn to use both sticks together. So let's go around the tree, and I'm going to start turning on both sticks to the left, and then I can bring them back to center and balance it out by pulling it back to the right. Turning to the left again, both sticks slightly to the left, and then balance it out by coming back slightly to the right, just to counter it, especially with the wind at the minute coming in from the right hand side. Again, we'll go around the tree, both sticks slightly to the left, and then back to the middle, and a little bit of right just to counter it again. And it's the same thing when you're wanting to turn to the right. Both sticks have to work as a team. Turning right, both sticks have to move to the right, and the more you move the sticks to the right, the sharper you will turn. As we're coming up to the tree, both sticks to the right, and then back to the center. And the faster you're going, the more you're going to have to tilt the drone to turn sharper. But because you're doing that, a lot of the throttle, a lot of the thrust is being pushed out to the sides and not downwards. So because of that, you're going to have to increase the throttle as well momentarily. Now when it comes down to landing, what I choose to do is get it roughly where I want it to be and then flick it into normal mode or sport mode. So let's put it into normal mode, and then you can control it like a normal drone. And at this point, your throttle, when it's at 50%, means that it will hover. It's not the same as flying it in manual mode. So let's just bring it in here, and then you can hold down the throttle stick. And that's it for me today. My hair's a mess. It's getting dark, it's gonna rain, so I'm gonna head home, start editing, and hopefully this video has been really informative for you. It is incredibly hard to explain how to fly an FPV drone whilst flying it and trying not to crash. But if you've got any questions about the DJI AVATA or anything else that I do here on the channel, let me know down in the comment section below. If you want to see more content like this, then make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you do, I'll see you right there. Thank you very much for joining me. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.